Pull up on these niggas, all I do is flex. I don't answer phone calls, hit me with a text. They wanna know my worth, they wanna know my net. Knock it at the ballpark like the New York Mets. Only thing that's hard for me, boy, is avoiding sex. Boy, they swear they heard me coming, but I crept. Like to make my moves in silence, ninja steps. Swim off in this money like I'm Michael Phelps.
What's up, everybody in Windward? I'm Kevin Mumphrey. Once again, we're doing another indie spotlight. Today we're talking to a rapper, producer, jack of many trades. Today we're talking to Steele. How are you doing today?
Yo, what's up, man? I'm doing great. Thank y'all for having me.
So, where did your love of music begin?
Man, my love of music began. I'm pretty sure everybody got a long story for that, but I'm gonna try to keep it smooth and simple. I think my love for music started in the R&B era. Of course, Michael Jackson was one of the first artists that really caught my eye as a young kid, coming up in the 70s and the 80s. Well, I would say the 80s because I was a little older by then when I first saw Michael. But it definitely was Michael Jackson. The dancing, the performing, the energy, you know, just the whole thing. But then I saw New Edition, which is a five-piece band, legendary band. New Edition was one of the first groups that just really made me feel like, damn, I want to do that, you know. I think that's when the love and my imagination started kicking in, and I was like, oh, maybe I could do something like that, you know. But I was just a kid at the time, so I wasn't like really like doing anything to be really active at the time, but it was just me looking at pictures and following, you know, how we did back then.
Okay, so now you named some pretty high-level performers,
yeah.
And you do great performances yourself. Saw one of your performances. So how, like, did they kind of like motivated you as far as like your performance, or like how important is that to you?
Oh yeah, they definitely inspired me when it comes to performance. I mean, I literally went to a New Edition concert when they came down here, and like the people had to come get me, tell me get out the aisles, because I was like doing the routines and shit. I almost got into it with one of the dudes. He was like, yo, you gotta sit down somewhere. But yeah, those dudes' showmanship is 100. So I would say definitely that was one of the first things that kind of put me in the game of understanding what a performance should do, you know, stage presence and energy. But to make a long story short, also outside of that, seeing those artists and like being inspired by that, it was during high school when I really got serious. Because in middle school I was rapping, and I was coming across a lot of hip-hop guys in my middle school that, you know, back when beatboxing and freestyling came out. So everybody in middle school was doing that, and I was doing that in middle school too. And I did my first talent show in middle school. We performed some Public Enemy. And like people was like, damn, who these dudes is? And because people wasn't even listening to Public Enemy that much then. But you know, especially in Alabama. You know, that's like a New York group, so I'm like down in the South, they listen to stuff like really Southern artists. But Public Enemy was a stretch back then. But anyway, when I got into high school, Don Gardner, my music teacher, big ups to you, one love, he's still in the building. He pretty much was my chorus teacher. And I don't want to go into the story how I ended up in chorus, because I wanted to be in band. I wanted to be in the marching band, but I didn't make the tryouts during the summer. And going from middle school to high school, I didn't know you had to do all of that. So I ended up in like beginners band, and I hated it. And I met one of my homies, Ryan Hall, and he was in the band with intermediate band with me too. We both hated it. And so he told me he was transferring over to the chorus because there was a lot of girls in there, plus, you know, we both kind of could sing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna transfer over there too. And man, that's when it started getting real. When I transferred over to chorus, which a lot of schools aren't like my school, Vica High School, what's up, baby? Wolfpack in the building. 1994 graduate. Mr. Gardner taught us how to perform. Like, that's when I started playing piano. That's when I started knowing harmonies. That's when I started learning how to sing for real. That's when I started learning how to vocalize, how to pronounce, how to just do music. And then I ended up in a group called Unique, and we got a record deal back in 1994, Bellmark Records. And we toured with some big name artists, Boyz II Men, Jodeci. I hate to say R. Kelly because we was on the fucking R. Kelly concert before. We was on the R. Kelly concert and Salt and Pepper. It's a show we did in Houston. We was always like an opening group because our song didn't, it didn't go like #1 or anything, but we was in the top 100s one time. And the name of the song was Dog Me Out. The name of the group is Unique. And you know, we did our thing, man. And that's pretty much how I kind of came into the game, because I rap and stuff, but I sing too. So it's like my whole, I don't know, I just feel like my whole presentation in music was like the whole R&B hip hop thing. Like I understand both. Like when it comes to like real hip hop history and how that works, I know what's up. And when it comes to like R&B, especially like the New Jack Swing, even all the way up to hip hop that's out now, I can produce any of this stuff. Like I just get it.
Now, were you producing also during this time, like when you was in your group?
Yeah, I was producing back then too. I actually was the choreographer for the group at first, but I could produce. Like, it's funny you say jack of all trades earlier, but because I be having my hands in everything. I don't try to do it. It's just that if I can understand it, I don't mind learning. You know what I'm saying? That's like another skill I can pass off to somebody else. And sometimes I don't have to be 100% in one skill. It's just that I understand that skill. So when I get into that element, then I can kind of understand what these guys are doing. If I'm around a group of hip hop dancers, then I understand what the element is like right now. Or when I get around a whole bunch of producers, I understand that element. Or a whole bunch of East Coast rappers and etc. Or jazz players. I like jazz, blues, anything in that urban category. I think I'm working it right now.
So at what point, because you know you've done the production, so you do the technical side and the performance side. At what point did you start to get into more of the business side?
The business side. I got into the business side a little bit after I was telling you about the group Unique. So we had a manager. His name was Tony Warner. This guy was the guy who took us all the way to Texas, got us a record deal with Bellmark Records. That's back then. This Bellmark Records were the people who signed Johnny Guitar Watson. Jody Watley was on the label. Prince, when he changed his name to Symbol, he was on Bellmark Records. He dropped his single on with them. So Tony Warner was the guy who took us there, got us the deal. And I always, like I said, I like the dib and dab and things. And I always just, you know, my brain started thinking like, you know, how is he doing this? Like, what's working all of this stuff out? Because it just kind of felt weird, you know, having your whole career and your whole life in somebody else's hand is happening, but you don't know how it's happening. You're just doing whatever they tell you to do. So after our group, you know, the deal kind of came to an end and things started going back to normal. Everything that I did after that, you know, I just started reading up on stuff on my own. And I ended up making another group. I started another group called Me and My Mans. It was me and my homie Gino Wesley, and he does a lot of blues down in Mobile, Alabama still to this day. Like, he's doing the Chitlin circuit. But me and him, whenever we would get into some type of contractual going with somebody, he had an auntie. This was so cool. His auntie actually was a lawyer, and she read contracts and understood them. So what she would do, every time we would get a contract, we would take it to her. It saved us money because she didn't charge us, and she would actually take that contract and she would write it. She would write that contract all the way out again on just regular loose leaf paper, but she would write it out where you can understand it. And he would always just give me all of the copies. She just put it in like layman's terms. Yeah, she put it in the most basic terms of it. And if the contract had 13, 20 pages, how many pages it was, she would give me that many pages. Now my brother was really smart too. Like, this is his auntie. He was really smart too. So I know he read the stuff, but he would always give it to me. I read this stuff. I would read that stuff from the beginning to the end. And after about good 3 years of doing that, I understood contracts. And then I started understanding what I was reading, what was going on. This was before the internet. Like, these days, people can just get on YouTube and find out what's going on.
They do a lot of digging.
Yeah, that's what they do now. But back then, you didn't have that. If you really wanted it, you know, you was that unique person who would have the wisdom and knowledge on something because you went and read something or went and done the studies or repetitiously went through something to make you consistent with that craft. But you know, these days you got people who probably ain't even interested in music and start telling us all about what the music industry is like because they was on YouTube for 13 hours. You know, but I think that's a lot different when it's actually happening to you, because if I put a contract in front of you right now, YouTube can't save you.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand?
Need you to sign it or not.
Yeah, exactly. And that pressure, and even being able to look at an A&R or a person that you're about to do something contractual with, and just look at them and say, hey, I'm not going to sign this right now. I'm gonna, you know, get back with you tomorrow. See, I know what that pressure is like when you're so hungry and so desperate to make a deal happen, and you're just gonna go ahead and sign it anyway because you know you just had somebody tell you yesterday, man, this you only get one chance to do this, man. MCA trying to sign you or Def Jam trying to sign you tomorrow, just sign the shit. Not me. I'm like that challenging guy. I'll challenge a person that can take my career to the next level. I'm still like that. Like, even though I know they can take my career to the next level, I already have enough gratitude and I'm already happy enough with my life already that I'm not gonna let your money and all of the stuff that you probably can provide me make me sign a contract or do something unprofessional in front of you in the beginning. Because what's going to happen is you're going to always remember that, and you're going to take me for a sucker continuously after this. So I challenge people in the beginning, and I'll look right at a millionaire right now. I've done it in the club one time. One guy was trying to tell me about all his money he had, and I know he was just in the bar, but he even showed me his, you know, balance and all of that stuff. As soon as he showed me all of that, it made me didn't even want to work with him.
Doing too much flashing.
Yeah, you're doing too much flashing, and plus, like, sometimes trying to reel people in with just cash is just already a bad, you know, it's starting off pretty bad. If you're a professional, and if I come to you and say, hey man, I'm gonna get this contract looked over, and I'll let you know what my decision is by tomorrow or within 48 hours. Contract, and they said that to me, then that would make me proud, because I was like, okay,
you know your business.
This guy right here got some sense on him. We might make 50 million with him because he's gonna be smart, versus a person who just, you know, sign anything. I had a friend once, man, I had to drive around literally to 3 different people's homes that he was under contract with. He had 3 manager contracts that he had signed with people in that city. And he actually had a real opportunity that presented itself, and he couldn't even sign with them because he was already signed to some little, I mean, these were people that wasn't even doing anything. Because he was so young and so desperate when he was younger, trying to make things happen. And when people see something great about you, the first thing they want to do is get you on paper, which is fine. I'm not afraid to do anything contractual, which, you know, big ups to Sound Corp. I work for them. That's a company that I do some educating with, and that's like in one of our seminars, you know, I talk about that. Contracts and being contractual, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just something that you need to be willing to understand and willing to know that, hey, this is part of the business, you know?
Now, you can't put us on a lot of game today, so before we wrap up, can you like tell people that they wanted to contact you, like get some information or learn something else, how can they find you, and what do you have going on maybe in the next few months?
That's what's up, that's what's up. Well, in the next few months, we'll probably be hitting you guys again in Nashville with a show that we drop every, right now we're probably gonna do it once a month, but it's gonna be called Thursday Night Vibes. We may return to Inglewood Lounge. We may hit some other venues. We're moving around. That's me, DJ Deer, my girl Sammy Barrett, and we still doing our thing. Also, I should be starting up some classes soon with Sound Corp. You can follow me on soundcorp.com. I'm a new facilitator and educator for those people. They're based out of Chattanooga. Basically what they do, they teach people how to start their business from 0 to 100, from ground up. And they teach a course that lasts about 9 weeks every Monday, and I'm definitely one of the facilitators there, so you guys can go to soundcorp.com and look that up. Hopefully next summer I'll be coming back with hip hop and poetry with Steele at Vanderbilt for the kids, and that's always like a great time. That's going to be fun. I'm always about giving back to the community, always about giving back to musicians and trying to help guide them in the right direction when it comes to doing what they do, as well as myself. All
right, well, Rim, thank you for talking to us today. I'm Kevin Mumphrey with Steele with Win Radio, and we out.